It's your pals back again
for another installment
of the Pals Podcast.
I'm your co-host, Ricky Liordi.
And my name is George Christos Boutsalis.
I changed that up on you. You like that?
Yeah, let's throw it out there. Guys, honestly, this was a great episode. This was amazing. Honestly, we think all our episodes are great, though. So this one is one of the great ones. We had our boy Justin Lacchin, a.k.a. J-Lac, a.k.a. not money manager, but he knows his stuff about money.
Yeah, we chatted Raptors, and there are some hot takes.
Yeah.
Big hot takes.
Yeah. A couple guarantees.
He's got the inside scoop.
J-Lac's got the lowdown. He's got a source. He's got some rumors on Giannis, some rumors on some other players might be coming. And, he told us a little bit at the end about his career, about what he's doing and how he goes about investing and managing people's wealth.
So definitely listen to the entire episode because there's some great pieces towards the end. You definitely want to check those out. So big shout out to our sponsor, Stephen Liambus Real Estate. Again, he's one of the top producing realtors in the city and in the GTA. If you're looking to buy, sell, or lease, definitely hit him up and he'll guide you every step of the way. So check him out at Homes by Stephen or online at homesbystephen.ca. And Georgie, hit him with it.
Let's fucking go. All right. We're good.
Let me get comfy.
We're good.
And we're back.
Check, mic check.
Woo!
Most exciting topic ever.
Justin, a.k.a. J-Lac, welcome to the Pals Podcast.
Thanks, pal. Thanks for having me on this.
No problem.
I've been trying to get on this podcast since day one. I think I was going to be your first guest, but then you ended up having Donovan Bailey and other way more exciting people. So.
No, we were actually going to have you back in February to talk Raps.
Yeah.
Big sports guy. So should we start off with that Raps? Yeah, let's just get into it then.
That's how we said to bring you on now because I thought the Raps were going to win. So I was like, sick. We'll bring Justin on, biggest Raps homer in the city. Just talk about Raptors, and then they fucking lose. And
so annoying. I honestly thought, boys, like, they had the team to do it. And I don't believe all this hype around, like, Pascal just not being the guy. To me, seeing him enter the bubble, he was just completely out of shape. Like, he looked thick. You look at
studies him regularly. Checks the physique.
I watched every single interview of like practice and everything. And I remember one of the first practices, he's like, "Yeah, I haven't been able to touch a ball in like 5 months."
During the lockdown at the beginning.
But everyone thinks that crazy. They're like, how could a guy making so much money not be able to pick up a basketball? But apparently he didn't. He's living in a condo downtown Toronto, right?
Okay, that's what I was just gonna say. Was he downtown Toronto?
Yeah. So I guess
that's kind of crazy. Like, you think you have that money, you have access to resources. Whether you can go, because I don't think they could practice like at Scotiabank arenas and like actually part of the league because of like whatever the bargaining rights and all that stuff. So that was out of the question. But you tell me you can't go to like a school gym and be like, I'm gonna give you $1,000 for a week. Let me use the gym. Like because think about it. Like schools,
I would. Bro, you're Pascal Siakam.
No, you're right. There's no excuse. You're right. There's no excuse for
there's like how many gyms? How many people? Man, find a guy who's got money in the bridal path. Be like, I'll give you $100 to shoot in your basketball court. They gotta probably pay Siakam to use his basketball court.
Exactly. He could have went down to Kyle Lowry's house in Philadelphia or something and
just
hung out there, and because he's got 2 basketball courts.
Is that where Kyle was?
How do you know that?
I know everything.
Justin's
I know everything.
Justin's like on Reddit in the deep dark pages of Reddit to find out where these guys live. It's like, yeah, man, Kyle lives on this street.
So the other thing too, I think Siakam, that's just that theory, is that in the bubble, like if you're single at the beginning, you couldn't bring like girls in, right? So families can bring like their families in, but guys can't just have like girls coming in and out. So I think he might have been maybe a little dry spell, Might have messed with his head a little bit.
Could have been. He used to be a priest though, right? Like
what?
You didn't know that?
Wait, what?
He went to seminary school.
Siakam.
Yeah, he was like training to be a priest, and then he picked up basketball at like 17.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I thought he picked it up at 14.
No, it was late. He was late.
14 to 17, sometime.
Whatever, he picked it up late. But he was going to be a priest before playing basketball.
Yeah.
Playing basketball.
That is so crazy.
Crazy, isn't that?
Bro, imagine going from a priest to getting a $150 million contract in the NBA, how polar opposite that is. That's so insane.
Anyway, so why do you think we lost?
Honestly, Pascal was the reason for sure. Like him not being able to at least make a couple of plays lost us that last game. And you could argue that he probably lost us that second game.
Well, he looked good defensively though. Defensively, he looked good.
Yeah, I mean,
just offensively, he just like the simple layups and stuff he was missing.
I just don't like his legs weren't into a shot. You could tell when you're really out of shape in basketball. I mean, I never played. Let's just go there. But like, all my friends that have played, and like, my dad played in high school and universities. Like,
Who played?
Yeah, he played. He played
No.
football and basketball.
What happened to you then?
Guys, like a three.
I did not get the athletic gene at all. That's probably why I like watching sports so much.
You can't play it.
Yeah, I can't
I don't know
play
your dad played. Your dad's a sick golfer.
Is he?
Yeah, really
he's
good.
pretty good. He's all right.
Yeah.
He's like 63 and he still like powers into the ball. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he's sick. He's sick.
He's gonna be screwed in like 7 years when he starts to age. He's not gonna
The
be able
hips
to do
don't
that.
work.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you think the legs were the shot, for Siakam?
It just, to me, it didn't look like that. I think part of the reason we lost was a big reason we lost was him. I think the other reason too is ever since that second shutdown, like the 3-day shutdown with everything that was happening with Black Lives Matter and all that, I know that the Raptors were like the most outspoken team apparently because they were the ones leading the charge on saying we're not going to play this game.
Like even with the bus, right? They came with the Black Lives Matters bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right.
They did everything
Even though
first.
the organization, MLSE in general, was very outspoken against
so
it, right?
Van Fleet and Powell were pretty vocal before that Boston series, and then you have to think Ujiri was leading that, all the players because he was in the bubble, and then apparently in that meeting they were like the most outspoken team, and they were ready to walk out. Like them and the Clippers were ready to just get out of there. And it's funny because the Clippers are out now too, right? But it just looked like their heads weren't in it after that. Like they just didn't. There was something different from that point on. There was just something off.
You think, like, what do you mean? Like from the chemistry, the way they played, or just they look like a different team?
They just looked different. And maybe part of that could have been Boston's defense and how good they played against us. I mean, part of that could have been that.
When was the 3-day shutdown? It was before game 1, right?
It was before game 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before game 1 against the Celtics. Part of it could have been
Was
that.
it round 1? No.
It was after the
round
Nets
1,
series.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then, because I honestly thought we matched up pretty well with the Heat. Like, I was excited to see us match up with the Heat. I mean, they look pretty good now, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
I hate Boston. Honestly, I hate Boston. I'm not gonna lose to anybody. Two teams I can't stand in the league is Boston and Philly. So I just hate losing to them.
I hate Philly a lot more than Boston.
I just hate them because Philly talks like they've done something.
They're
Okay, wait,
trash.
so I have this thing. Do you listen to Bill Simmons?
I do quite a bit.
Did you listen to
yeah.
his most recent one where he's talking before the? It was like one of the last episodes talking about the Heat, and he's talking about why Boston made it on. He's talking about like how Denver came back to win, and he had this theory. And like, I mean, he's the biggest homer for Boston in all sports, and usually I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes and he said this one thing that really made me mad. For the first time ever, I turned off his podcast.
Right.
I didn't listen to it. I was like, I yelled in my car. I was like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah.
And sorry, Bill Simmons, if you hear this, you're a bit of an idiot, but this made me so angry. So we took Boston to 7 games. Like, no matter how you skin it, like, yeah, they won, but we were still as good of a team.
Came
Like,
within one rebound
right
at the end.
Yep.
So he had this theory. He's talking about how Denver came back to beat the Clippers.
Yeah.
And he goes, I have this theory about teams that are like, they come up together. They're young. They're in the trenches. They like go through the hard times together. So Denver, Jamal Murray and Jokic, like they're the young core, right? That team for the most part is pretty much the same it's been from when they drafted them. They added, I think, Grant or something recently. So he's like, that's why I think they came back to win. They've been through the tough times, adversity, whatever. And I was like, okay, kind of makes sense. He goes, much of that's like Boston. Like, they've been through the trenches together, one of the oldest teams. That's why they beat Toronto. And I'm like sitting there thinking, I'm like, are you an idiot? Toronto has been together with this core from like the last 6 years.
like 9 years.
Everybody we draft. Yeah. The only one we didn't draft is Gasol and Ibaka, I think.
Yeah.
And Matt Thomas.
We traded
decided.
Terrence Ross.
No,
Right.
we also traded for Powell or Van Vliet, but it was
we drafted them all. So they're like, think about that. Not only that, when he makes that point, Van Vliet and Siakam came from our G League team. So when you say that, it just annoys me because like a lack of respect, or it's kind of like, oh yeah, we drafted Young and Tatum or
Jason
Tatum
Tatum,
and
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. And I was like, this makes no sense. That's not why they won, because our team has been together just as long.
Yeah.
Been through the same shit. We got bounced in the first round how many times? So that was the first time I ever had to get this off my chest. It's making me so mad. I was gonna tweet at him, and I was like, "Nah, I don't want to." I was so mad. I turned it off.
tweet at him.
No, I actually
tweet at him.
I got
buddy.
mad because I don't
gonna
like
listen
that.
to this.
Because there's such a lack of respect for the Raptors too, and like, dude, this team hasn't missed the playoffs since Lowry got to Toronto.
Yeah.
Which is insane. I mean, we had some disappointing times early on, but like when I hear that, I just like, I don't know. I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole too, but it's the same as when the Raps won, and people say, "Oh, they won because Durant got hurt."
Yeah.
Okay, Golden State, the year that they beat LeBron, Kevin Love and Kyrie were hurt. So why does no one talk about it then?
Yeah.
because next year when they had them healthy, they beat Golden State. So by that, there's like a logic that explains that. It's like whatever it is. So it's like they did this time. So by definition, they should have beat them when they had the same team.
Yeah.
So the two best players, or two second best and third best players on that team got hurt. Golden State beat them. When they had the full team, they lost. So then if they were fully healthy, Golden State would have won the first time.
Yeah.
So don't say that Golden State won and they're sick, but then when we beat them because of injury, it's because of an injury. Like, fuck, man.
I'm down to go down this rabbit hole because honestly, my biggest beef with the NBA, I love the NBA, but it's just the American media is just so biased.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Like it says they don't even watch basketball. Like they don't even watch the Raptors.
It's like first off, how does the defending champions get a 1:00 start for the start of the playoffs?
I know.
Game 1 against the Nets was 1:00. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like, we're the defending champions.
It's also obviously it's for like marketing money and
of course.
like
it's all for the
fans.
TV.
Like
the TV
if we had a better
rights, right?
team, I think we had a better time. The Nets are dog shit.
It's all about the TV
Like even the
rights,
Nets
right?
are really bad. Kyrie's out. I bet you if Kevin Durant and all them are playing, it's a different time slot. But nobody's watching.
Going back to your point though, like you know what? Talking about when players get injured and going to the NBA finals and all that, that pretty much happens every year in any sport in the NBA. In the NBA especially, like you need luck to win a championship. Like if that bounce didn't go in Game 7 with the Sixers and Kawhi Leonard, there's a chance we would have lost that game. Like you need luck in any sport to make it all the way, right? And I think in life too, you create your own luck, right? So if you give yourself an opportunity to get there and you are the healthiest team by the end, you deserve to be the winner.
Yeah.
You deserve to be the last team standing. So I don't buy that Durant injured argument bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Like, look,
there's at the end of the day, there's luck, but there's also preparation that goes into luck. Like to be lucky, I think there's something I was saying that goes. You have to be lucky to be good to be lucky.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, again, injuries are inevitable. Every team is going to battle them throughout any given season. There's no team that can play 82 games and have 0 injuries. I think that's almost physically impossible.
Yeah.
But so it's going to happen. But if you can prepare yourself, like Kevin Durant got injured Game 5. Maybe if he sat out that game, maybe they would have won because the momentum shifted in Game 5 when he got out, right?
Yeah.
So, like, things could be completely different. If they didn't rush him back for that game, maybe the team would have played better on their own. Maybe Clay wouldn't have got injured because whatever.
Right.
He wouldn't have to play as many minutes. I don't remember the exact situation on that game, but at the end of the day, you have to prepare to be good. You have to be good to be lucky. And it goes all the way backwards. To be lucky, you have to be good. To be good, you have to prepare, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I just...
And F the American media, man.
Well, you know what? There are some guys I really like. Like the one show I listen to, which is on TV, is PTI. Michael Wilbon's one of my favorite guys to listen to because he just tells it how it is.
Yeah.
Even him and Kornheiser have a good rapport, but he said this year the Raptors were his team to go all the way.
Yeah.
And then you look at it. So on there, this was kind of got me going. So when we were down 3-1 or something, or when he said when Fred VanVleet said they shouldn't have let us back in, one of the guys in Boston. They posted it, and then I go to the comments of this thing, and I'm like, all right, I got some time today. So I start finding people who are saying like...
George is hungover Saturday morning.
Just I'm on Hoops IPs going through all the threads.
Bro, I go on, I just find people who say shit that I'm like, this makes no sense. They're like 3-1, it's over, this and that. I was like, guys, there's a lot of basketball, or whatever it was, 2-1. And they're like, yeah, it's over, the Raptors are done. I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then something about then they start going, oh, you won because of Kawhi. Okay, won because of Kawhi, that's it. By himself, he won. But he couldn't carry that team with Paul George past... look where he got bounced.
Nothing better than that night last week.
Yeah,
100%. Out.
That's the thing is like, okay, yeah, without Kawhi, we don't win. But if it was just Kawhi, then how come he's not in the finals? Exactly. Right? So there's a lot that goes into it. You also have Paul George, like one of the best 3-and-D guys. He's supposed to be one of the best. And he doesn't do shit in the playoffs. But everyone gives him, playoff P. What has playoff P done? He's gone to the Eastern Conference Finals once in Indiana. Hasn't done anything.
Lost against us.
Yeah, exactly. So he hasn't done anything for his career. But how do you give himself the name Playoff P and underperforms more than anybody? But I remember, honestly, and I was
this is a big rant episode. I like it.
Buddy, get into it. I haven't talked basketball in a while. That's the one thing that I was gonna say. So that day when I went in the comment section, I was going back and forth with a bunch of different threads. I'm just like, let me instigate some of this. Let me get some guys going. So I started commenting, and then when you see if one of my followers, one of my friends would see, you can see your friends kind of comment sometimes. Mm-hmm. So mine popped up, and some buddies tagged on who were they saw me comment and they kind of wrote in, and these guys were like, oh, 2-1, whatever. And so I'm like, yeah, we're gonna win the next game. It's fine. So when we won that night, I went back and commented one of these emoji, the little I don't know emoji, and I was like, like, pause or something. I was like, because he's like, it's over. I'm like, pause, dot, and I did this to like every comment.
Yeah.
And then when they lost the next game, these guys commented back. They're like, resume. And then I got to the thing. I was like, oh, this guy ain't going to hear the end of this. So 2 days later when they won, I scrolled to the bottom of my comments and I went back at them and I was like, yeah, the Raptors win the series. And just literally for the whole week, random dudes in like Philly and stuff I'm going back and forth with.
And then as soon as you lost, you
I turned my phone off. Yeah,
deactivated Instagram.
I think account deactivated. Georgie just blocked everybody.
No, I actually really like it. I like getting into it and like debating with
Yeah.
people on social media. But
Who do you want to win the championship?
I kind of like
Denver.
Denver, man. I kind of like Denver.
Yeah.
I just think they're a
As a
sick
Canadian,
team.
I feel like you almost have
I also
to cheer
wouldn't
for
mind
Denver
LeBron
now.
winning. Like I want the West to win.
Yeah.
I don't want the East to win.
I don't want these to win either.
I like Jimmy Butler, to be honest. I do like him. Like I think he's one of the most tenacious guys, and like he is really good. Because you know, like he left Philly and he left thing. When you see him play, like, the way he's playing now, like leading this team, and they've bought in. I mean, my guess is that he wasn't the problem in with the Timberwolves or with Philly. Like he is the leader, but nobody wants
Or with
to fall
Chicago.
in line.
Crazy, he's been on 4 teams now.
Well, he called out everyone on the Timberwolves
Yeah.
for not trying.
Because they don't, man.
And then he called out a lot of the Sixers players as well. For
Well,
not
Sixers
trying.
are a joke. Like,
They're the biggest
swept first
You hate
round.
them.
Like trust the process. Like
Losers.
what is the process? What has the process done?
Yeah,
They haven't done anything. Anyways,
I did at one point think that Embiid was going to be better than Giannis, though.
No.
Like when they first both came in the league, you actually would say like Giannis is going to be the best player in the league.
Oh,
And
not when he first came in. I
Yeah.
didn't think so. You know the Raps tried to get him.
Well, they're going to get him.
No, but they tried to draft him. Ujiri.
Wait on it.
You heard it here first. Oh,
I love when
I see the thing.
I love when our guests point at the camera. So any future guests, just point at the camera casually. It makes me so happy.
The
Is
Raps
that
tried
the
to,
camera or is it hiding in the TV or something?
No, secretly, it's
no,
like right behind you.
the Raps tried to draft him. Ujiri wanted to trade for the pick, but they wouldn't do it. There was a whole story in like ESPN or Sports Illustrated about the guy on the Bucks who found Giannis. That's a really good story. It talks about his first year and all that stuff. And like Giannis, when he was drafted, like never been to America, like knew nothing about how it works, like having an agent, like all this stuff. But Ujiri tried to trade up, but the guy on the Bucks, he was so set on drafting him. I think it was 2 spots ahead. Like he went and scouted. He went to Greece a few times, watched Giannis play, talked to him. He's like, we're going to draft you. And then he ended up forming a really close relationship with this guy.
Yeah.
So once they drafted him, he was like his best friend because he didn't know anyone. So he was like with him all day, all night. He was an executive with the team. The team actually fired the guy like a year later. And Giannis said he's like it turned his world upside down because he didn't realize people can get fired.
Yeah.
He didn't know how things worked. It's a really interesting story. And it talks about how he like when he came, he was like so naive. He was a little wiry kid. Like no one would have thought he's going to be this good. And then now 2 MVPs later, defensive player of the
Back
year.
to back.
I made a
Also bowed
comment.
out in the playoffs.
I
so.
think, yeah, I think I read somewhere. This is the first time the top team, back-to-back years with the back-to-backs, MVP has not made it to the championship.
Yeah, I think he's like the only player to ever do that or something.
It's like back-to-back on the top-ranked
Yeah.
team not go to the finals.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that'll be a stain on his resume. But
Well,
I'm
mind you,
sure-
but at
I'm
the same
sure he'll
time,
be
you see what the governor of Milwaukee,
Wisconsin.
what he just says, like, we're going to do whatever it takes to get him back here. So if they're going to dump money into the team so they can go into the luxury tax, or if they're going to put money into, I don't know, sponsorships or something from him, you got to, if he leaves, Milwaukee goes back to the bottom and nobody cares about them ever
They
again.
just built a whole new stadium and like a whole facility.
Yeah.
I think the whole like entertainment area is built around that stadium because the team's supposed to be good.
To be honest, I know nothing about the city of Milwaukee other than Giannis and like the Bucks now, obviously. But if they lose him, like that's a huge stain to that team for the next decade.
Yeah.
Giannis is
Hard
going to
to
be a
recover
top
from
player
losing
for the next 5 to
MVP.
9 years, 5 to 7 years or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can tell you as a Greek, to the inside scoop, as a Greek mentality.
Greek?
Here. I am. If you didn't know, all like generic Greek tattoos. Greeks, I will tell you, are really proud people. If you didn't know that, if you didn't get that vibe that I give off, but so Giannis, like he is a guy who's like, dude, he goes back to Greece in the summer, like he walks around like Santorini, hangs out, like he's very like, I don't know, I guess he's very Greek because I'm getting at. But the point is that people like that though, like I find that his personality, because he's proud, he wants to be the guy to like grow a team. He's not a guy I'm not gonna guarantee it, but he's not a guy who would like go to Golden State. Like he's not gonna be a guy who goes to be that, you know what I mean? He wants to be the guy and have people around him. So whether that's Wisconsin or Milwaukee or whoever, but I think for that reason he might not leave. He doesn't want to feel like he I think abandoned the city and let them down. So part of me thinks he'll stay in Milwaukee his entire career. He seems like that guy. But then part of me is like he wants to win. Like MVPs are sick, but like titles don't matter, right? And I could see him leaving and going somewhere. And they say Toronto and Miami. I don't know how they get like
Well, I think the people are stretching with the connection with Ujiri, right?
Yeah, but what about Miami? How do you get that Miami? Like,
this is Miami.
Might be the media just saying again. Well, Florida has really low state tax, right? So a lot of people like to go play in Miami, and who doesn't want to be in Miami?
Yeah.
So I mean,
bro, who doesn't? We're the biggest Greek town here, brother.
Well, no, but like
Giannis wants souvlaki. Come here.
Look at LeBron, what he did, right? Like, he was, I think, coming off an MVP season in Cleveland when they just got bounced by Boston in the finals, and then he went to Miami, right? We teamed up with Bosch and Wade. Those 10 years ago now?
Yeah, we're getting old.
8 to 10 years ago now. So like I could see Giannis going there. I could also see Giannis coming to Toronto, which would be the sickest thing ever. The problem is,
understand there'd be Greek flags all over that stadium.
The one thing I want to ask, and J-Lock, this is good for you. What do you think it cost us to get Giannis? Because it's a trade. There's no way they let him go to the deadline without an extension.
I honestly think that he's going to play out the season with the Bucks. Like he's
extension.
He's going to give them one last chance. He's not going to take an extension. He's going to give them one chance. And then he's going to become a free agent. Like, I honestly think he's going to do that.
Okay, so if he becomes a free agent, which that's what you're saying, so the Raps have to sacrifice some contracts.
Yes.
Who do you think gets?
How?
Interesting. I just
Why do you have to sacrifice contracts?
You can't afford to sign everyone. He's a max player.
Him, Fred, Siakam, and Giannis get maxes.
I'm making a call right now, and I'm going to tell you, watch. As soon as the season is over, this call is going to come true. So the Raps have.
This is a hot take.
Okay.
Pals podcast exclusive hot take.
20-minute mark.
20-minute mark. This is the clip.
20-minute mark.
All right, J-Lac, let's hear it.
So the Raps have $60 million coming off their books this offseason.
Yeah.
Which is Ibaka.
Gasol is $26 million or something like that. Ibaka's like 23. So you're already, and then Fred has $10 million coming off.
He's getting max.
And then Boucher and another guy have $3 million. So you total it up, it's $62 million.
Yep.
This
right now or next year?
Right now.
Yeah,
right now.
okay.
So
then Lowry's due next year.
I think it's already been rumored that Gasol wants to go play in Europe. I think he's going to go play in Spain.
Oh, you think so?
I think he's going to go play in Spain.
He's done it all here, right?
And his career kind of there.
Man, and Gasol's a beauty too. Like, I don't think
I'm so happy he won.
Nobody will forget his parade day.
Exactly.
He won the FIBA World Championship and he won the NBA championship in the same offseason, and he lived it up.
I know a guy who was on the bus on the parade.
On his bus?
On his bus.
Oh.
And this
Like,
guy I know,
he was sending it.
This guy I know is a pretty
Full
big
send.
guy. Like, he's probably like your height, but a little more solid. And he's like, the guy was
like
falling on me.
140 more pounds.
No, like he's probably in the, I don't know, I can't even
like
guess, but he's a
260.
built guy. And he's like, because Soul was falling on me, and I was trying to hold him up, and he's like, guy's a monster. 7 feet tall, just like an absolute unit. He lost weight this year, but like he was a unit.
That, again, never forget with the shades on, just catching beers from the crowd, just tossing.
Rosé. He was guzzling rosé.
He's the best. He's the best.
Sorry.
You can't, I love him. Whatever he does, I respect him. I have a Gasol jersey. Shout out Gasol.
So I think he's going to Spain. I think so. There's been rumors that Ibaka wants to go to Brooklyn, and that's fine. He might go to Brooklyn.
You think so?
It's not going to be this year, though, because Brooklyn only has a $5.7 million mid-level exception, and that's all they can do to sign a veteran. He's going to command way more money than that.
Yeah, at least
I
10
think
to
the
15.
Raptors are going to sign back Ibaka on a one-year deal. They're probably going to give him $10 to $15 million. Yeah. They're also going to sign Fred VanVleet. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about him going to New York because he'll make $3 million more a year. So he'll make $3 million more. Because they can offer a max of 23 and Toronto can only offer 20 for some reason. I don't know why.
No, because we have the Larry Bird rights with him.
Yeah, but there's something about the fact that we can only offer him 21.
That's why they call it Bird rights.
Yeah.
Because of Larry Bird.
I know. So, fuck. I knew that Larry Bird was that was the rights.
Yeah.
But when they said bird rights, I never just, so dumb. I never associated the two.
I
thought bird rights is a different thing.
So I had to Google it because I didn't understand it. Because I used to think they said birth.
Plastic.
I thought they said it was birth.
Yeah, bird
I'm like,
rights.
I don't get birth rights.
I thought that was
I'm like,
mine was bad.
So I Googled it maybe like 2 years ago so I could understand it. Because I'm like, they always say it. I'm like, I don't understand how someone can sign more on one team than the other. I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
So if you trade the bird rights, then you can actually sign that the Supermax or whatever.
Yeah. But we can offer him a supermax, can't we?
We can offer him 21 a year. So I think
how can they offer him more than us? That's what
I don't know.
Also, do you go to? But then look at the team we have. Look at the team New York has.
So this is why he's going to
sign
that
$2 million.
This is why I know it's already.
This
is why I know it's a done deal already. Okay, first of all, Kyle Lowry is his mentor. Like, that's his guy.
And they play. I love their style of play.
Like, they're brothers in arms.
Like Bulldogs.
There's a reason Van Fleet is the player he is now. He's Kyle Lowry 2.0, and he will be probably better than Kyle Lowry.
You think so?
You think so?
I think better. I think more consistent shooter. I think
at some point in his career, he may be better than Kyle.
Well, timeout. Sorry to interrupt. Do you know this was Kyle Lowry's best playoff performance was this year? Statistically speaking,
he stepped up.
He was good last year too.
Offensively, he was not good. Offensively, like statistically speaking, he produced below average stats last year. All playoffs.
Yeah.
In Toronto, all his playoff stats have been below his season average.
He would choke a little.
This is the first year where he was on par with his season averages.
He played amazing.
It's a shame that for the first time he stepped up in the playoffs and like we didn't.
Remember in Game 6 of the finals last year, he came out and scored like 25 points.
Yeah, but he averaged.
Like, that's also what he did. Averaged 14 Game 6 this time too.
But he didn't need to score as much last year.
He averaged 14 points last year. Like on the season, he averaged 22 or 23. I mean, I might be wrong. Vishal, correct me.
Here's the thing, and I know we got to jump back to the point you're bringing up, but me and Ricky have always had this debate. I actually first had this debate with DB. The second year we had Lowry, I said that this is the second year we had him, I was at a game with DB and I'm sitting there and I was like, if I was starting a team tomorrow, Kyle Lowry would be my top if I had to pick a point guard, he would be in the top 5. Like I would take him over a lot of guys. At that time, maybe Steph Curry, maybe I don't even know if I would have taken Dame at that time. And there was someone else and I can't remember now. But I thought at the time it was top 5.
You took him over Chris Paul too.
Over Chris Paul, I would take him. Maybe not this year. Chris Paul's
That's a bold
crazy.
statement back then. I don't know if I would have said that.
Right, but if you actually look at his trajectory, the one thing I always liked, honestly, are his intangibles. And his intangibles are what you can't put a value on. I agree. Ricky always brings up a point, which now I see more and more. He's an annoying player. If he was against my team, I would hate him.
He's like Brad Marchand.
Oh, he'd be
Jalen.
He'd be identical to Brad Marchand.
He's even like Jalen Brown. Like he's just a guy. Look at, he's annoying. But if I had having him on my team makes you appreciate him because he'll do anything for the win.
Man.
Can you imagine how frustrating to be to watch your team play against the Raptors and see Kyle taking charges twice in the game? Like I would just pull my hair out. I would just pull my hair out and just be like.
So to George's point on that, I was like, "There's no way he's a top 5 point," because we had this argument about 3 years ago. Or 2 years ago, I'm like, there's no way he's a top 5 point guard over the last 5 years. So I pulled up the stats on all the top 15 point guards over the last 5 years, and I averaged out their single season stats over 5 years, and he is over the last 5 years, he's 5'6".
Like 6, something like that.
5'6", because you got to remember, he's never had a full injury season. Where he didn't play a season. He's played 60 games.
He missed one because of a hand or something.
But he still played majority of the season. It's not like he missed. So there's guys, Kyrie Irving, is definitely a top 5 point guard, but he's missed like 2 seasons in the last 6 years.
So there's a stat.
Steph Curry missed a full season, right? Like
there's a stat called win shares, I think.
It's like your WAR, like how many, like if you take someone else on the team, wins above.
Over the last 8 years since Kyle Lowry started making the playoffs, he has been top 5 win shares out of anyone in the NBA.
Any top player, 5. Not just point guard. Player.
Top 5. He's number 5.
That's so crazy. That's probably one. That stat to me is more valuable than any other stat.
Right.
That's how valuable you are to a team. How many wins you produce.
And at the end of the day, it's about winning. That's what sports are about. Winning.
And that's the one thing I always believed. This comment, I remember what Rick said. I saved this picture because this, I think you change your view on it now. But we were having a debate like 2 years ago, and I was like, Kyle Lowry is like an All NBA player. I think we said whatever. I said top. I still said top 5 point guards. Yeah. And Rick's like, Rick goes, he's barely an All-Star. You know that when you know that SpongeBob thing where you send different capital letters, and then you box he's barely an all-star. So I just save it and then it would bring it up. But honestly, I think I guess for
the reason I said that because in the West he probably doesn't make the All-Star team.
But see, to me, All-Star is subjective. I don't like All-Star voting. All-Star means nothing to me.
That does. I agree with that.
I mean, that doesn't mean nothing, but it's a fan vote. It's popularity. Whereas All-NBA matters. Like didn't Lowry he got second All-NBA last year or third?
Third last year.
And this year?
Nothing. I didn't even think he got All NBA this year. And he had better stats than last year.
Last year he had, I think he was third team All NBA.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. Because Kawhi made it. That was it. Kawhi was second team last year, and then this year.
Lowry was third last year. He was All NBA.
Yeah, I think he was.
Here's your phone. Pull it up.
Or was it Siakam?
Siakam was second this year.
Siakam was on. Was he? No, he wasn't last year. He was second this year. You're right.
Yeah. Anyways, I honestly love. We got to jump back to the point you're talking about how Fred VanVleet's like his. And I honestly, the one thing I really go with the style of.
Sorry, he was All NBA third team in 2016.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
crazy that he's not been.
This year, I think he should have got it.
6-time All-Star.
So that's like my smallest point. Like, first of all, Lowry's his mentor. Secondly, I think the reason you saw Fred in the starting lineup this year, was he the best player for our team to be in the starting lineup? I'm not so sure. What
was our most common starting lineup?
It was Lowry.
So many
and Fred
different
Van
ones.
Fleet.
Though. We had so many different ones.
I would have personally liked to see, and maybe even the coaches knew this, Powell in the starting lineup because he's a little bit bigger. He can guard more players. And then you get that scoring punch with Van Fleet, and he's really good at pick and rolls with Ibaka off the bench. The reason I think that he was a starter this year and they never derailed from that fact is because they knew he wanted to be a starter, and they knew, okay, he's becoming a free agent. We're going to give you that opportunity. You're going to be a starter this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's actually a good point because they could have put him off the bench.
Have done so much for his career that there's no chance he's going to bail on us. First of all, we gave him a nice contract for him to get the opportunity to be where he is now.
Did they give him, what, 33 mil over 3 years or something
we gave him 10 over 3 years or something. Which at the time was a lot
for us, what we paid him, we got full value.
He was an undrafted player, right? And then we put him in the limelight, and we give him the opportunity to now become that player that could get a max from New York. So I don't think he's leaving. He's not. There's no chance.
But to that point,
we
could have put him on the bench, gave him 22 to 25 minutes a game, let him average 8 to 10 points a game, and there's no way he gets a max.
Right, exactly.
But it's like you give him the opportunity because I think this postseason he averaged 18 or something,
so
17.
They're telling him
he had a sick playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, listen, you're our point guard of the future, Fred. Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to
Kyle's also
him.
what 34 now.
Fred's going.
I think Kyle retires with Toronto.
Yeah.
Or maybe he doesn't. We don't resign in a couple of years, and he goes somewhere for a couple twilight
it's just
years.
to make some bank, right?
So we
go to Orlando and sign those stupid big contracts.
So we have 62 mil. So Fred will get 20 of that. I think Ibaka is going to get 10 to 15 of that. I think they're signing. I think it's already a done deal. They're signing Montrezl Harrell. Like he's coming to the Raptors.
Really?
Yeah, he already followed.
How do you know?
Followed their Instagram account the other day and then followed a bunch of Raptors.
Wait,
and
what?
Masai's coveted him for a while, and he doesn't. Him and Lou Williams do not like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Like it's open. It's open.
Wait, what?
They don't like them because the day that they came into the locker room, they didn't like the fact that the Clippers had already been like a decent team last year, and they just came in and they're like, oh, we're the guys now. They didn't like that. Yeah. So there was a lot of shitty chemistry between
Man, I feel like J-Lax on like the
honestly,
gossip, the
I
NBA gossip
actually
books
love
right
hearing this stuff because he knows this stuff. Like he reads on this all the time.
So Harrell,
I would never have known this. Like,
secretly
Harrell followed the Raps and liked a bunch of accounts. I would never know that.
And they're going to give him 20, and they're probably going to do a 1-year deal, or maybe they give him a 3-year deal so that they're able to afford Giannis. But how crazy is that lineup going to be?
But
now?
that's so big though. Is that insane. But like everyone's going small? Wouldn't that be a problem to have Montrezl Harrell, Siakam, Ibaka, and Giannis?
But Siakam, Harrell, so in the year after it'll be Harrell, Siakam, and Giannis. And remember, Giannis can play center.
He can play point guard too.
He can play point guard.
Yeah,
that's it.
Siakam
play any position. They can go anywhere. Basically, anything but shooting guard.
Plays any position.
Siakam can play point guard too.
Yeah.
So that team is not going to be a big team because they can all handle the ball.
They can that's actually interesting because they would be the opposite of Houston. Houston is a lot of ball handlers that are small. If we go ball handlers that are big, you know where you stop them.
With like defensive prowess across the board. Like that would just be the most fearsome.
When you tell me this, I believe it. I feel like you should be in the organization.
But
J-Lac, I'm just listening to this. I'm like, there's so many sports podcasts I know that I'm just going to get you on just to talk basketball.
No, but that's crazy.
From the stands, our boy Sean Stansfield and his brother. Here's your next guest.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. There was a funny thing, just to kind of jump a bit. There was a video on Instagram, and it was like what Siakam sees when he's dribbling. And it's just a guy spinning in circles, because Siakam does like spin and drive.
Yeah.
And the video is just the guy spinning in circles, and then he shoots it.
It's so many, because what he does? He drives, plants, spins, goes up for the off the glass layup. And he missed like so many of those.
But he didn't do that this playoffs because that's my point. He was out of shape. He didn't even spin.
Even when he did
it was bad.
But he wasn't hitting those layups. And he was like those times he'd hit the layup, no foul. He'd get the foul, no basket. It's like, oh come on,
we
need a 3-point
play. I'm not worried about him at all. He's coming back next year stronger.
I think he's gonna be.
If anything, it'll help him. I think it'll be a humbling moment.
It's perfect for him.
Well,
everyone needs to go through learning moments. Right?
He was a second rounder, G League champion, most improved. NBA second team. Like, what more do you want from this guy?
Yeah.
If you think about how
That's
the
a
Raps,
rags to riches story, man. Like,
100%. Fred VanVleet too. Like, if you actually look at the development, Boucher as well. Like, if you look at the development of our team, and I could be wrong because I'm like, I don't know every other league, but like basketball is not a sport where like the G League historically it used to be called what
it's not like hockey.
It was the what was the league before? Anyways, guys didn't not like hockey or the AHL. You can get guys up to the farm. Like it wasn't really a farm system, right? You just get your 5 guys, you fill your bench with the veterans. The Raps probably are one of the few teams that like actually have put money into like developing their guys because Fred VanVleet and Siakam came from there. Norm Powell put time down there. Boucher, I think, played there because I think I saw him play at the 905 game once. Actually,
I think
Hollis
Boucher was
Jefferson?
the MVP like the year.
I think
after
Hollis Jefferson
Siakam
played
or
down there?
something.
Hollis Jefferson?
Yeah.
Hollis Jefferson?
He was.
I
the
like
MVP
Hollis
and
Jefferson.
he was the defensive player of the year in the G League.
Yeah.
Boucher.
I think he's got potential, eh? I think Boucher's got some
I think
potential.
so too. So
He's so
they'll
skinny
resign him
though.
too. He'll probably get
He's
like 5
so
mil.
thin.
He's got to put some weight on.
Man, I swear the guy's like 7 feet tall and like 200 pounds.
He's like, but he kind of
Got
looks
to
like
eat all
Durant.
those pizzas that George has here from last night.
I put him on blast,
Right,
AJ. lad.
2 a.m. pizzas, right?
No, I was like 9 p.m. I woke up
Okay.
at 9 a.m. and had some more.
So, J-Lac, just to recap, the hot takes are sign Ibaka to a 1-year deal, 10 mil.
You probably run 10
No,
to
he'll
15.
get more than that.
Okay,
Probably
so
10 to
Gasol's
15.
going back to Europe.
Gasol's going back to Europe.
Van
Fred
Vliet's
VanVleet's getting re-signed. Harrell's
how many years?
I think
3 years?
3 to 5.
max.
3 to 5 at max?
Or like a 4 with an option.
Or maybe they give him an extended deal as long as they can, just to say, okay, yeah, you'd get more with the Knicks on a 4-year deal, but here's I don't know the actual.
Okay.
I don't know the actual
Yeah, you're not that much of an insider.
schematics behind like the legal.
Yeah.
Okay,
aspect
and
of
then
it, but-
Montreal
How to
Harrell,
maximize their dollars.
And then
stuff.
Harrell's coming here for like 18 million.
18. So those are 4 players plus
Yeah,
Gasol
18
leaving.
to 23.
So wow, that's
Maybe
these
for,
are
like, a
your hot
2-year
takes,
deal.
guys. You heard it here first. Pals Podcast exclusive.
Bro, if this happens, it's crazy.
it's
He's
gonna be
broke
nuts.
this story. But you actually think Harrell's a center or power forward?
He plays both small forward, power forward.
Yeah.
He's like an undersized power forward, right?
Yeah.
That's
You know-
always the worry about him is he's that they call them tweeners, right? The guys that are smaller power forwards.
That's what
What do they call them?
tweeners?
Tweeners, that's what they're called.
Man, I'm excited. I just want basketball to come back. Like I couldn't get into
The
it.
Raptors
Like
to
watching it
come
the
back.
bubble, man. I couldn't like it didn't I don't know, I wasn't as excited watching games. Like not seeing fans and like not
Not being able to be there.
Yeah.
Like we were in Miami cheering on the Raps over Christmas break, and we had so much fun just beaking back and forth with people.
Oh, that guy
Yeah,
was
you guys
the
went
worst.
all over last year for the championship too.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah,
you go down
we
to
went to-
Oakland.
yeah, we went to
for one of the
Oakland.
I
games?
saw
We went to enough games, man.
and
you know what? This is
3 games in the finals.
Yeah, this is a good trick.
My dad went to every
That's not
game.
one.
My dad said this. So my dad was gonna go. I don't know if I've told this story here before, but so why we went to Oakland was I was supposed to go to Vegas for my brother's bachelor party, and I was supposed to go on the Thursday, and the Raps were playing in Oakland on Wednesday. So I was like, I asked my brother, I was like, yo, would you care if I fly out? I'll meet you guys down there. He's like, oh, it's fine. I go to my dad. I walk into his office, and I was like, you want to go to Oakland? He's like, how much? Like, what are we talking about here? I like looked up tickets and the flights, and it was like reasonable considering.
Yeah.
No, the tickets are more expensive here.
Yeah, tickets were more expensive, but still
I used points on my flight.
Yeah, still very expensive.
Because I didn't pay for my hotel. Points for the hotel. Points for the flight.
Tickets were still pretty pricey.
Yeah, they were. Like, man, once in a lifetime to go see.
I
them
agree.
at Oakland.
I did it too.
So then I called Rick and I was like, "Yo, we're going to Oakland." He's like, "Yeah, I'm in." Yeah, man, I'll see you there. Yeah, I'm
Rick's like, oh yeah, it's cheap.
No, me and my dad were talking about it too. And then when Georgie, like, I was literally already looking at tickets, and George comes like, "Yo, I might go to the game." I was like, "Bro, I'm literally already looking at tickets.
Yeah.
I'll buy them right now. Boom, done later."
Yeah.
So
we
those
went-
points,
so-
Rakuten got a little 10% back from Ticketmaster.
Get him to sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly. Sponsor
Cash back.
But my dad, we were talking because I watched Game 6 with them, and I didn't celebrate. Like I wasn't out downtown for Game 6. I sat
Georgie
home,
missed
had dinner, watched it, and went to bed at like 10 o'clock. Like the weirdest way to celebrate. But I sat with my parents because I had to go to Ottawa the next day for work, which is biggest waste of time. So
Where
in
was
theory, I
Game
could have gone out.
6?
But my dad was at home.
You don't remember where you
Oh
were
no,
for
I was
game
at my buddy's
6?
place. I was holding a purple crystal for good luck, and everyone was like surrounding me, and I was like, "This is the good luck crystal." And then when they won, they're all like, "The crystal."
My dad was saying he was debating flying like last minute, but he had a meeting the next day as well. So my dad went to like every game of the finals. He stayed for 2 games in Oakland. So my mom went down to meet him after for one. And he's like, the day of the game 6, he's like, should I go? I was like, Dad, you're not gonna go. Like, man, just let's watch the game together. And I could see him like itching. He's like he's a diehard Raptor fan. Like, he's like kind of how you are, but he's more so just like
He just loves the sport.
Yeah, Ricky knows this. It's when you say there's a term called pulling a Chris. If you're at a game and they're playing bad, he'll walk out of the game. He left one time. Me and him went to a game.
I've done that before.
We were at a game,
but
I'll never leave.
I have to do it.
No, I can't. When it's bad, I have to turn it off. I can't watch them. I can't so we were at a game once, and me and my dad were there, and we're watching. And it's like, I don't know, like a Monday or Tuesday night. I think DeRozan was still around. This is 2017.
They're playing Miami, I think. Maybe. If you're talking about the game where the thing hit the half court shot to come back.
No, that one I left. No,
there's one where your dad left where they ended up coming back. Because my parents left early too to beat the
Dallas
traffic.
game where they came back by like 30.
No, it was a game where they were down by like something stupid at halftime, 25. But when I was going to the game, I was like, man, I've never seen DeRozan go off. I want to see him score like 45 points tonight. So we get there, watching the game, up till the first quarter, they're down like 10, then down 20. But as like we're leaving, I was like, what? I'm like, man, they're gonna come back. We walked out a half. He's like, you either come with me now or you're take the train home or something. I was like, are you serious?
That's his dad.
My dad left. We put the radio on the whole way home, and it starts climbing back. DeRozan ends the game with like 48 points, and they came back to win like on a last second 3. Missed all of that. Yeah. Like, I was so mad. So now, like, my dad.
I'm the opposite. I stick through to the very end, and I'll stand and I'll still clap at the end, even no matter how bad they play. Because I'm like, you know what? If I have a bad day at work, I wouldn't want people booing me.
That's so nice of you, Ricky.
Man, if they're having a bad day, I'm going to cheer them on no matter how bad they play. And
This guy's got a good heart.
I never talk shit about the Leafs, Raptors, or TFC because no matter what, like, sorry, let me rephrase that. If I know they didn't try, like there was a couple years where the Leafs were trying to tank, the Raptors were like trying to tank. That's different because you know it's not on the players. It comes from the top and it goes down. If the president and the GM and they want to tank because they want those good picks, it goes to the players. Like remember the Phil Kessel days where he's putting up 40 goals and people are still beaking him. It's like, what do you want the guy to do? Put up 40 goals. He did his job.
He was supposed to be our savior. We were supposed to win the cup every year he was here.
Give me a break. So these guys are still trying. And I got into an argument at this is a side note, but at a Leaf game. So we're playing like Colorado or something. We're losing 3-2. It's like a decent game. And there's a guy the next row over just beaking.
Yeah.
And I'm with a buddy of mine. I can't remember who I was with. And I was like, yo, man, just shut up. What are you doing? Oh, they're playing like trash. It's 3-2. Like, we're down by a goal. Like, what is wrong? Oh, Anderson can't save a beach ball. I'm like, then you fucking get in there. You go save it. Let's see what you can do, you idiot.
Exactly.
And this guy straight from work,
this
too.
Is coming from a goalie, too, by the way. Ex-goalie.
He's got his construction boots on, like pants, like covered in like plaster and stuff. I'm like, man, sit down.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? I literally got up and like the guy beside me, like not my buddy, like the other guy beside me, got up with me. He's like, sit down. I'm like, yeah, you.
By
got
the way,
me, bro.
speaking about you being a goalie, the 1 year, I think it was maybe 1 year we played on a men's league team together, or 1 or 2 years. The 1 year you came to play with our team, we won the whole Canada Men's League Championship.
No big deal.
Canada Men's League Championship?
Like
no, Ontario. We won
across
Ontario.
ASHL.
No, we won Ontario.
Oh, then we got invited to
we got
Canada.
invited to go to Regina to play in the final.
What?
That was my glory moment in
2014?
sports. I'd scored like maybe 4 goals all year.
Sweeney carried that team. And Brandon Andrade.
Final game, I score the game-winning goal on a wraparound. The whole bench clears.
Come on.
Ricky like leaves his net. Everyone's like down the ice.
Overtime
like,
or something, yeah.
Wraparound goal.
There's a whole period and a half left.
Oh.
These guys are clearing the bench.
Yeah, that was nuts. I remember that. It was
That
in
was a peak of
Oakville.
your
It was in
athletic
Oakville.
career,
You
eh?
remember
Final
that?
game. That was my peak sports moment.
J-Lock,
of
that was in Oakville.
I think it was, yeah.
So we won our night.
Or at Canland?
So we played at Etobicoke Ice Sports. We won our night. If you win your night, you have to play for the building championship. So in our night, we won these little pullovers. Then the building championship, we won something else.
Remember when we got rinsed by that team where there was the professional guy that played in Europe?
Yeah,
and he was taking
a guy with like the
slap
red
shots,
shirt and the
and
red
you're just
hat.
like, oh
and this
my-
guy, no,
I'm
this guy
not
would
getting
just,
in front
like,
of these.
walk
There's
over
no
the blue line
chance.
and just rip it. I couldn't even move. I'm like, this guy's got a shot like an NHL player. Just come over and just rip it.
And everyone
he was
was
like
just getting in the
35.
way.
Like, he wasn't the fastest dude, but he could just rip. And I
Yeah.
got dusted. But
Like
whatever.
this guy was going top corner. It was like a
From
100
every
mile
angle.
an hour puck, like minimum.
Yeah, it
and
was nuts.
Ricky would just
I
step
wouldn't
out
even
of the
move.
He's like,
I
it's
was
not
like,
worth
man, I
it for
got lit
men's
up.
league. They
So,
won, like,
anyways,
8-1.
so we won our building, and then after our building, we played in Oakville at the Oakville Ice Sports, and it was a championship. So I remember I missed the first game, and I think Belak played for me one of the games.
Maybe, yeah.
And like, I love Belak. You're one of the boys, but I think I might be a little bit
Shout
better
out
than
Belak.
Yeah, I might be a little bit better than Belak in that. So, or maybe it wasn't Be Like, maybe it was someone else. So
You're gonna hear about that on the podcast.
So we ended up losing the first game. I came in second, third game. We won. And then the finals, we played this team. And I remember we won 3-2 because at the end there was a scrum in front of them, like sticks everywhere. Yeah, that was good. And we won those bags. Remember those Under Armour bags?
Yeah, I still have those.
So do I. I got mine for baseball. Huh?
That was the end of my hockey career, by the way. I tore my ankle next season playing basketball.
That's it, eh?
I played one season of hockey, Lambda Chi Alpha when I was at Western men's league.
George, you can take a slap shot.
Sprained my ankle first game, went on crutches, hockey career over.
That's it, eh?
I literally played like one game. My clapper's okay.
Yeah, you got a clapper. You can take a clapper.
That's about all I can do. I'm terrible at hockey.
But I guess we'll
Bring
start.
up well, you mentioned Belak. What's his podcast?
The Andrew Belak show.
The Andrew Belak show.
And honestly,
shout out the Andrew Belak show.
Shout out. And J-Lock, shout out to your episode. I listened to it on the way over here, and because I've listened to a lot of his, but I don't sometimes make it through the whole thing, just because I'm trying to listen to 100.
Yeah,
different
excuse me. We get it. It'd be like he doesn't listen.
Just in general, like I try and listen support as many podcasts as you can, but I only have so many hours in a day to listen to podcasts. But I listened to this one, and you were great on it, start to finish. You know, you speak. You're very well spoken too. Like I say, like every other word almost, and I do this on a regular basis. You don't, and I don't think you said like at all.
So funny story about that. I don't say like, but I say yeah a lot, and I have to like withhold myself from doing it.
Yeah.
Because before the show, Belak's like, because we did like a pre-recording, but he's like, don't say yeah after someone speaks. Just
let them
back.
speak. I do that a lot. When someone's talking, if I agree, I'm like yeah. But I'm like, why am I saying yeah? Like they're talking. I don't have to say that.
Just nod the head, look at the camera, do a double point.
The finger guns.
That's Sarah Winter. Shot finger gun.
Did you hear that story?
I watched that one. That episode.
Did you hear the finger gun story?
I think.
Where she's like, it was like an awkward conversation and she did.
They
Like,
just finger gunned her way
Oh
out.
yeah.
She's good, yeah.
So she has like 7 hole-in-ones or something.
Yeah. She's
I watch her golf swings like on Instagram. She posted like
piss missiles.
Dude, she hits like her swing is so perfect. Like there's no like I don't even know. It's so smooth.
It's just a nice. It doesn't even look like she's swinging that hard either.
Yeah.
And she just crushes them.
Yeah.
She's competing in Miss Universe Canada. Wow. Yeah. And
she decided to do
November, I think. Yeah, I saw something on Instagram. So when she decides to do that and when she's in the thick of things, maybe we'll get her back on.
Gotta get off for a round of golf.
Yeah, so she'll embarrass us. Yeah, so she can dust us.
George has a good swing too. I'm just learning the sport, but
me and Jay like are good partners though. Right? Because
he's got my high handicap.
Yeah, but you can see one thing I think is I think I am good at when any sport I play with whoever's on my team, I can get the best out of them. I fire them up. When someone's against me, I can get
you don't fire me up. What?
Because you don't need the firing up.
I played like the best front nine of the year with you.
Right. So when I play like the biggest one, shout out Yanni, my brother. It's usually me, Rick, John, and Yanni will go play or something, or me, my brother, and Ricky's brother. And me and John are pretty similar golfers. John can crush the ball compared to me, but we're like score-wise similar. My brother was I think is more skilled and can be a better golfer than me. Like he's more athletically built, but the mental part is where I get
more athletically
he's a mental midget.
He's like honestly, he's really good. He's really talented with golf, but. If I'm on his team, I just gas him up the whole time. Just pump his tires, and he's like the best golfer ever. But then when I'm against him, I just mental warfare. I just go at him, and I just like every shot I get in his head. But yeah, that's why. So when I joined my team, like you fired me up, but then when you started getting going, you hit some good drives.
I was hitting some shots. I was like, where are these coming from? There was like sticking it on the green. What was that one hole I stuck it on the green on a par 5? And
he had
a net albatross.
Net albatross. Do you even know what an albatross is, Rick?
It's like a net. It
3 under par.
So
if it's a par 5, you got a 2.
It was crazy.
So
no, I got a 3. Got a 3.
No, an eagle's a 3.
Oh no, sorry.
You had a birdie. You had a natural birdie. Got 2 strokes. And it's par 5 is long. It's 550 yards. So like he made the putt.
So it was a net. Yeah, net 2.
Net 2, which is crazy. That gave us 3 strokes. Anyways, I'm a good teammate. I get people fired up. Not Rick though. Yeah.
Nah, I'm just there to have a good time. Have a couple bevies.
Man, we played in Arizona. That was a good time. Yeah. Rick was.
I was on one.
Watching him try to line up a putt was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I was on one.
What did you guys think of Arizona? My folks have been a place.
That's your spot, AJ.
I like it.
I love it. I actually think it's personally between there and Florida. Like if a lot of people have they do vacations in Florida or vacation homes, whatever it is. I think Florida was always really big. It was a really popular one because it's warm but easy to get to.
Close, right?
But Arizona, I think in my opinion, I prefer like how it is and the weather and everything. I like dry heat. Like I don't like the humidity. I loved Arizona. That was sick.
I had a blast in Arizona. I've been there twice now. Both times I've had an absolutely amazing time.
Yeah.
Went for
It's awesome.
Sweeney's.
Summer is not for the podcast, but
Yeah, we won't share those podcasts.
The one thing I like about like Scottsdale or Arizona versus like Florida, for example, is like every time you book a flight down there, it's always sunny. Like you can
guaranteed.
get down to Florida sometimes. If you're going down for a weekend, your whole weekend's ruined because of rain. The other thing I like
it
about
can
it
get cold
too
in
is
Florida
it's like
too,
very
right?
active. There's so many things to do. There's like
Hiking.
It's not just like sitting on a beach, which I can't do anymore. I don't know. I'm not a beach guy anymore.
Really?
I've seen so many different beaches. They're all the same. It's an ocean
Whoa.
and
Whoa.
a beach.
Let me stop you
They're
right
all
there.
the same.
Let me stop you right there. Have you been to Greece?
I have been to Greece.
Okay.
But here's what I'm saying. You get to the beach. and
You want
look
Giannis to
out-
come here and you're going to insult us like that?
You get to the beach and you look out, and it's the same thing because it's just an ocean.
No, it's different. Greece,
That's my
best
opinion.
beach in the world.
Hey, teach the The thing I like about Florida is that there is a lot of different things to do in Florida. There's so many different cities. Like you go 2 hours north, you're in Orlando. You can go to Tampa. You go. I'm talking about from Fort Myers at least. You go an hour south, you're in the Everglades. You go an hour and a half east, you're in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. There's if you go 4 or 5 hours up north, you're at the tip. You're at like
Daytona.
Jacksonville. Yeah, Daytona. There's so much to do in Florida, but I do agree. Arizona is sick too, just completely different, right? One's
Yeah,
a
it's
desert,
way
one's
different.
a
I
beach.
love it.
One's surrounded by
good.
water, one has no water.
Yeah, I want to jump back because we got a little digression there. We talked about somehow from going saying like to talking about Scott.
Yeah.
That was
We're all over the place.
That was a good tangent. Let's bring that one back.
Hey,
in.
we got to make this podcast exciting because what I'm going to talk about later is very boring.
No, man. Yo, that's what's interesting. And
Actually, at like time, I had a perfect segue when we were talking about the Raptors sports, but then you guys kept going. I was like, oh,
the finances.
yeah, I was like,
speaking
well,
of
it cost us
finances,
a lot of money. Go. Speaking about finances, we gotta get our money back. So that boom.
I could tell you were kind of ready to
I
see
was
that
good,
one
but
up.
then we kept going. I was like, there goes my segue. I
I
gotta.
said the be like I had the opportunity there. Oh, be like money. Let's go. But actually, funny enough, when I told Ricky recently, I'm like, we were gonna get you on a long time ago, and then it didn't happen. Then we said let's get you on. But the time that like for me where I actually found it really interesting is when I was talking in the golf course and you're explaining what you do and all that stuff. And honestly, like you made a joke that it's going to be boring. I actually found it very exciting because you like when people speak passionately about what they do, you can make candles. I mean, you can do whatever. You can be a guy who paints walls. If you're excited about it and you like speak with passion, it conveys it, and then people get excited. Like I'm in cleaning, and sometimes I talk to people, they're like, "Oh, this is really interesting. You really like cleaning?" I was like, "Yeah, cleaning's boring." But like, I think it's who talks about it, how you talk about it. It's kind of the exciting thing. So I mean, like to your point, I don't think what you do is boring. I mean, the way you talk about it and the way you take your perspective on it, you explain, which I'm sure you can explain now more.
Yeah.
Is really interesting.
Well, I think in
Well,
general.
so start off. Tell us what you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I joined up with a wealth management firm last year, and I think for
What's it called?
It's called Mowbray Wright Financial.
And your position is?
My position is a financial advisor. So essentially what I do, I find like not a lot of people know what a financial advisor is. I mean, some might if they have a financial advisor, but a lot of millennials in general don't really know what a financial advisor truly does. They think, okay, you're a financial advisor, you're the money guy. Like you're there.
Manager Money Mike.
Yeah, you're there to like invest in stocks for me. But that's really like one of like many pillars that I'm responsible for. So at the end of the day, my job is to help clients through good advice hit their long-term goals. So, I mean, that sounds very vague, but all I'm doing is I'm taking their life, I'm doing a discovery meeting with them, I'm learning everything about them. What are their short-term goals? Do they want to buy a house in 3 years? Do they want to buy a house in 5 years? Can they afford to buy a house? Are they properly insured? Are they a business owner? How are they structured? Are they optimizing the way they invest from a tax perspective, or are they just throwing away money to the government, right? So what I really am is more of like an organizer and manager of like somebody's personal finance, and it's my job to add value through giving them advice so that over time their wealth grows, right? So you watch a lot of these Questrade commercials, and I'm going to bring them up.
Question like Wealth Simple, same kind of thing.
Yeah. So, but they've been knocking advisors a lot because they're knocking the fact that their fees. And you watch the commercials, they're like, "You're still a dad's guy, right? Like, I'm not paying any money through Questrade." Yeah. So they're good because they're allowing, they're driving. So they're driving down the overall cost of the client.
The barrier to entry.
Everyone's becoming more competitive, so they're driving down the overall cost in general. So everyone's kind of, fund companies are lowering their fees, advisors are lowering their fees. They're making the industry more competitive, which is good for the end client. But what they're doing, in my opinion, is they're deterring people from actually seeking out good advice. Because if you work with Questrade or you work with Wealthsimple, you know, you're thinking, okay, I got my investing covered because I'm paying 0.5% or 50 basis points and it's cheap. So that's all I need, right? Mm-hmm. But you're missing the value of advice. Yeah. You're missing that person to hold you accountable, to save, to hit your goals, to tell you not to do things when you're
how to
making
maximize
mistakes.
your tax opportunity, stuff like various
everything.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I really tell people, and I didn't come up with this, by the way. There's a very famous advisor that's written a lot of books. His name is Nick Murray. And he believes in behavioral psychology when it comes to like investing. And he's like, your whole business should be based off of behavioral psychology. If you're approaching a situation with a client and saying you're going to make money in the stock market, you're already out. Like you're going to sell your client on the fact that they're going to make money over time. You can't predict that. You can't control what the markets are going to do. Mm-hmm. What you can control is the advice and the behavioral coaching over time that's going to help them not make the big mistake and cripple their retirement. Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting you say that, because there's such a connection, and there's so many people, and we can use this right now with COVID, that when the market took a hit, so many people panicked and sold, yeah. Right?
And those people are the ones that are kicking themselves now.
Yeah, because you got to remember, it's almost back to where it was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's
so some of them
the
are
US
higher.
market's up this year, actually.
Yeah, some of them are even higher, but it's like the people that sold, they're probably kicking themselves, where it's like, and I'll let you get into this, but for me, all the stocks I own are all ones that companies that I think are big that I want to hold on to for the long term. And then when I need the money, I'll take those out. And they pay good dividends and whatever. But if I sold, I would have taken like a 30% hit on my entire capital.
So imagine this. Imagine you're 56, 57-year-old and you're looking to retire in 3 years. This COVID thing comes along. You panic. You don't have an advisor to control your emotions.
The computer tells you to sell.
Whatever. And you sell everything, you go to cash, and then the market rebounds by 60%. That person probably just ruined his entire retirement with one mistake. Yeah. One mistake that I could have helped him not make.
Yeah.
So
or her, it's 2020.
Right, him or her. So in my opinion, I mean, I'm obviously biased because I'm an advisor, but I think everyone needs good advice. The other thing too, like when you think about, I think we were talking about this the other day. It's like so hard to do things on your own because your emotions are always running in different directions. You're your own worst enemy, right? So to have someone as a backstop to kind of control those emotions, I think is key.
Yeah, that's on that kind of point. And you even made this point about the question commercial. I sell you with Dad's guy, and it's funny you bring that up because I think one of the things young people. I mean, we're all young adults, but when you're young. I don't know about you guys, but, I would go to my dad and say, who manages the money, or who did you invest with? Who do you bank with? Who do you this, that? Most people you get in areas of that, whether it's finance. I mean, hell, even when you vote, typically you say, your parents tell you when you're first time voting to what your parents believe, that's what you believe. But I think there's a fallacy there because my dad's, the guy he's with and that manages whatever, invests for him or my parents, they've been working together for a long time. So their time horizon was kind of aligned. The advice, they knew what it was. I'm very different than my dad. Mm-hmm. So what I want is very different. My risk tolerance is very different. How I see things, all this stuff is different. So going to the same country because they go by default doesn't necessarily mean it's the right fit. So, and not only that, like when you, to the point of behavior and your own worst enemy, having somebody, I think, and I started to realize this a little bit more recently, and but having someone you can bounce your ideas off of or ask, what should I do? And that kind of keep you focused. Like, again, that person is typically like your parent because they're the ones that talk to you about money. So you go to them and say, what should I do? Again, their goals are different. So the advice they're giving you is not necessarily unbiased. So as an example, I had money in a mutual fund and it was down in the year. And I was looking at the market rebounding and I was like, I'm like, I can sell this for a loss, take this money out. And I think the stocks I was investing were doing well. Mm-hmm. I asked my dad, I said, would you do this? Like, do you think my chance of getting the return back here will happen or here? Like, which return would be greater? If I take a loss here, but I'll recoup it in this. And his view was never sell for a loss. Mm. But I was like, I looked at what the mutual fund made up and it was because RBC put it in there and they said, this is good. And I'm like, this thing is not growing. It's losing money. So see, his advice was different. I didn't listen to him. I did my thing and I made it
That's because he was with a bank.
Right. No, but it's true, right? Like, it's very true. And not to knock banks, but it's a very different model as well. They're more like it's big systems. They go as conservative as they can, and they're it's more, I think, generic versus more personalized.
Yeah,
So anyways, I think that to the point of being your own worst enemy, and it's also hard to have someone who has the same vision or goals as you. So any advice you're getting from anybody, if you're not an advisor or someone super close to you at the same time horizon, it's going to be biased and it's not going to be necessarily for you.
Yeah. Not to knock the banks either. Like there's a lot of good advisors that work for banks, right? But I think people get excited by the notion that they want to work with a big Canadian bank because they know about like the security behind it. I myself, we're independents. We're an independent financial planning firm. So that means we are fully incorporated and we're our own bosses, right? At the bank, if you work for the bank, your own advisor, you run your own list of clients. Sure, they're your clients, but at any point in time, that bank can say, you know what, we're going to salary you and we're going to take all your clients. They could do whatever they want, right? Oh. So the bank, there's a lot of bias behind the scenes that people don't see. Because I worked for the bank. I actually, I worked for a bank advisor. There's a lot of bias behind the scenes that people don't realize. That client, they're doing things that may not be in the client's best interest because the bank has told them to do so.
Through an obligation to your employer.
Mm-hmm. Whereas my obligation is to myself. Actually, no, my obligation is to my clients. At the end of the day, I only care about my clients succeeding, right? So it always perplexes me. I think I had one phone call in COVID of someone panicking. One, which is pretty crazy because I've told everyone that I'm a behavioral coach and the markets are going to go down. And when they go down, you're going to call me and you're going to panic and I'm going to tell you to hold on, right? And the same is true when, euphoria is spiking and everyone's jumping on weed stocks or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to tell you to sell those, right? Like I'm going to be like your guidance and like I'm going to be your center of kind of your center of gravity, right?
Yeah.
Keeping you in line. So I had one person call and panic, and luckily they didn't go to cash. But yeah, it's funny. It's like it's funny that they're calling me to do this. It's like I only want to see you succeed. So if I'm saying that you shouldn't sell, it's because I want you to succeed. It's not because I want you to stay invested in
lose money.
Lose money, right? Like we succeed together. So on that point too, when I talk about like lower fees, when you see those Quest Trade commercials or those Wealthsimple commercials or whatever, the fee is the only thing binding you to the client where you grow together. So if you're gonna charge less fees, then you're basically saying that you don't care about that relationship as much, in a sense, right? Like if you think about it, what is binding you to that client? What is binding that relationship, right? The fees play a role in that.
Yeah.
So I don't charge really high fees, like very reasonable. All the money that I think this is a good point for millennials who are always like fearful of like approaching an advisor. They always think they have to write a check or, give the advisor money out of pocket. Doesn't work like that. The fees come off the money that's already invested, right? So over time, if that client makes, 8% over the long term, and you charged 1% fee over that long term, they made 7% net. But it came off of the accounts. You're not actually writing a check to anyone, and you're getting the benefit of the advice. You're getting the benefit of that advisor helping you reach your goals, right? Yeah. And some stuff can get very complicated when you get around tax rules with second and third properties, and what do I do with this? And so there's a case this year where I ended up landing a client where we used our tax specialists at one of our fund partners. And they gave this client really good advice on how to elect one of their properties as their principal residence and how to save like a chunk of tax, right? So if you're just investing on your own, you don't get that outside advice that can end up being critical to maximizing your wealth over the long term.
Yeah. That's interesting too, because like one thing that I actually do believe, and I did kind of during COVID, that's why I took my money and managed it myself from the banks. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that like nobody will manage your money the way you, like no one will care about it as much as you care about it, obviously. But obviously, like I'm still, now that I've spoken to you about this more than this conversation, like I'm seeing a different side as well. You can see that somebody like is passionate about what they do and wants to grow. Shit, I fucking forgot about that. I knew I was gonna do that.
I caught that at the beginning, and I was looking. I
actually had a point. I just
because you were like, oh, that's interesting, because then you paused and you started talking. I'm like, here.
No, I paused on purpose. That was for effect.
Okay, let's hear it.
I forget. Now I forget what I was talking about. Oh, the advice. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing too, is that if you sit at home all day and you can read about companies and read the reports and read about stocks and read up on tax advice, great. You can manage your money. It's easy. But most people, like, if you want to be successful, you're out trying to better yourself, grow, whether it's through your career, through your company. I mean, people who are kind of driven by succeeding have other ambitions, or they take up hobbies, like Rick's bike in the background. People do things that are like, want to better their health. All these things, you put time and resources in. And it's like we always say, like, time is finite. You can't get more of it. So you have to allocate it to what makes the most sense.
Yep.
And my brother actually brings this point up a lot when it comes to business within our company. He goes, when you're putting someone to do a task, like, because I try to do everything. And he's like, George, like, you're not the best at everything. So you putting in like 1 hour dedicated here is not going to get the same result as a person who's good at it. So let them do it. Like, it's a negligible, like, you're going to hurt the company if anything, right?
You ever read the book, The E-Myth? So it's all about that. It's about like doing what you do best.
And focusing
everything
in
else
that,
is just delegated.
Yeah.
So like they use the example of like Subway franchises. Like, are you in there making the subs, or are you behind the scenes like controlling the operations? Like, what are you best at doing if you're the owner of the company, right?
Yeah.
You should focus on that, and everything else gets delegated.
And that's the point too, like, when it comes to the money stuff, is like, during COVID, I had a lot of time. That's why I also did it myself, because I was, reading up on companies, reports, all that. To Ricky's point as well, I invest in companies that I like. Nike was the first stock I ever bought. If you couldn't tell, I mean, I wear Nike I'm down to the socks every day, all day. But I like companies that I like because I know I'll follow them, whether it's through social media, whether it's through their through.
And you're going to support them,
right? But it is
Which
hard
is only
to find
going to
time.
add to your own wallet in the end, because you
Exactly.
support them, their stock's going to go up.
Nike's killing
With
it
all
too.
the money he's spending on Nike.
I go to the outlets. I buy it cheap. I go, I save money. But yeah, I think that, to the point of the advisor thing, it is important because, it's hard. You become your own worst enemy. It's hard to stay focused on all that all the time. So having somebody dedicated to doing that, like, it's almost like, hey, trust this person. Like, they're going to give you advice, sound advice, because that's all they're doing all day. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to go buy a condo, you're not going to buy yourself. You're going to buy a realtor to help you buy a condo. It's kind of on the same vein.
I saw, like...
That was my point. I had it the whole time. I just forgot, okay?
Yeah,
okay?
I'm an advisor. Like, my livelihood is through investments and insurance, right? But I have a good friend who's a real estate agent, right? And he believes in the same things that I believe.
Give him a
in,
shout out?
like advice. Yeah, Evan Christensen. Go
Shout
see
out
him.
Evan.
If you're selling a house or you're buying a house, shout out Evan. The Christensen real estate team.
Is it at Christensen group?
But he believes in the same philosophy. Like, do what you do best. And like, I would never tell him what to do when it comes to like buying a house. Like, I just delegated completely. Like, he helped me a lot on my condo that I bought in 2016, and I made a lot of money on that. And honestly, I just
that you finally started living in now.
I finally started living in
Me and Jay were talking on the phone the other day. Just like, man, I've had this condo for 4 years. This is the first time I've ever actually used it. I was like,
really?
Yeah, because like my parents kept going to Arizona, so I would take over their house. They were in
not
Arizona.
bad.
I took over the house in Etobicoke. It was close to the and I'd Airbnb my place, but now I'm
That's
finally
smart.
in and out because they're not going down south. But just to wrap,
because other reasons.
just to wrap back to my, so my friends who are a real estate agent, and I say this to every client. You alluded to the business aspect and the career aspect. So the way you make money in life is through your own business and your own career. You don't just make money in the stock market. That's not your first line of revenue.
Yeah.
It's your business or your career. So if you're successful in your business or career, that's how you're going to maximize your wealth. Number 2, principal residence, your real estate. Okay, I cannot compete with the fact that when you own a home and then you sell your home years later, it's capital gains free.
Yeah.
Like, you could invest in a TFSA and RSP, which obviously doesn't have as much tax consequences, but you will make the most money from your career. Second, real estate. I always say that after that, all of your liquid assets, your cash, they cannot be in a bank account earning 0%. Because if they're in a bank account earning even 1%, then you're 1% below inflation. So just to explain that to everyone, the cost of goods around you that you're purchasing every day are actually going up more than money sitting in your bank account. So that means that when you have money in your bank account, you're losing money. And that's really hard for some people to fathom. They're like, well, how am I losing money? I don't want to risk it in the stock market. Well, you don't have to risk it in the stock market if you're properly diversified, because over time, our goal is to beat that inflation and more. If you leave your money invested, you will do that. If you leave your money in your bank, you're not beating inflation. There's no way you can conceivably retire without having a very successful business, selling that, or having a bunch of real estate properties, selling that by just leaving money in your bank account. It's just not possible. So I always tell people, I'm here, as your third kind of line of income. Actually, I would also throw insurance in there too. So if you want to leave money to the next generation or leave a legacy throughout your family, what better way than to buy insurance so that, if you ever pass away, your grandchildren or your children end up getting a huge whack lump sum of money, like $2-3 million. And if we were to insure ourselves for $1 million, just to give an example, because
I'm worth a lot more than $1 million, pal. Come on,
No,
my
I know,
life here,
but-
my life.
No, but you can always.
My life?
I have a life
Yeah,
insurance.
you can always start. With a
don't, but-
lower
You don't have a
amount.
life
You
insurance
can always
policy?
add.
Bro, I was Frank holding on to you. Let's
Yeah.
go. Your life ain't worth that much to Frank, eh?
Said I'm not worth much.
You're probably paying like $25 to $35 a month. I mean, you'd have to get a quote and everything.
Yeah.
But someone who's healthy, who's our age, just to get $1 million of life insurance. If you died, whatever, it would pay out to your parents, whatever. But down the road, you're gonna have kids, and down the road, that policy.
I'll start that when I have kids.
Yeah, down the road, that
I have
policy is
mine.
going to be very valuable. And the day that you got it when you were very young, it was cheaper than ever because when you get it younger, you're in better health.
That's why I got it. For
So-
maybe
Who
4 or
gets
5
your
years
money?
ago.
If you get whacked, who gets your money?
That's a
Can't say.
personal question.
Ricky Liordi.
Is that a personal question?
Yeah, it's
It's your beneficiary. You don't and I'm not married, so typically if you're married,
Yeah.
it's probably your spouse.
Mine, I have a
it's
beneficiary
your-
for all like my finances.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
just
like
know-
an
I don't know
individual. So
what-
my
I mean,
brother
I know
gets
it's-
my money
This
if
is
I
a
get
good
whacked.
topic, actually, because this is what I do as well. It's called estate planning. So what happens?
The Pals
if you pass
podcast
away?
gets all George's money.
Ricky, I signed it over to you, buddy.
Heck yeah.
if I go missing, Ricky took my money.
Estate planning
Please find
is
me.
what happens if you pass away. So you're right. On your investment accounts, it would be your beneficiary. On your insurance policies, it would be your beneficiary. You can also have a
My
will.
bad. I didn't know
done.
that was a personal question.
No, I wouldn't
No.
answer, but it's not like I don't. I could tell you off the air. I'm not gonna say on to everybody to listen.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
But
And
no,
then
it's
everything
fine. Don't
everything
apologize.
else gets left through your will. So if you have a will drawn up, it goes through that.
I felt bad there. I was like, oh, shit.
No,
Did I
it's
just
not-
put someone on the
we're
spot?
pals, I can tell you, but it is. Yeah, you don't ask. Like, I'm not gonna ask somebody, hey Justin, who's your beneficiary? Like, yeah, it's a random question.
Sorry.
It's like saying, hey Justin, how much money you make a year?
Oh, that I know. Tell me now.
Not enough.
Well, man, he's gonna start selling this Raptors insider scoop soon. Fuck. He's gonna be the
You
Bob
should,
McKenzie,
honestly,
eh?
Yeah, you
Like,
should start a burner account. That's like just
buy a
should.
burner
tips.
account. No burner account. Just do
So
it, man.
you were saying
Who are those?
for state, or sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say for estate, we kind of cut you off there for estate planning. You're saying. You
Oh
also
no, I was just saying that like all your money gets left for your beneficiaries on your accounts that you name that, and then everything else gets left according to your will, right? So that's basically how it works. And you have a will written up. X goes to my kids.
Pals podcast.
Y
How do
goes
you do
to
will? It has
cousins,
nothing to
Palace
do.
podcast, whatever. You could write up your will and say, "Oh, my money goes to Palace
Ah,
podcast."
Ricky's gonna write up a fake will, get me to sign it when I'm like drunk. The condo, the Pals podcast, like everything, all the rights go to Ricky Liordi, and then I'm gonna be gone next week.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
And I'm in Mexico.
So I help. That's actually so
Tijuana.
estate planning is like an integral part of what we do. Actually, like we help everyone go through that process and understand what if you were to pass away. That's very important.
And it's unfortunate, but you have to have this conversation. Like, I mean, I can tell you honestly, like we as a family, like we have a family business. My parents have talked like from when we were young. Like it was always just like if something happens, what do you do and this and that. So, yeah, I'm sure you guys have done it too. But
Hey,
yeah,
we got
yeah.
I don't personally.
Yeah, bro. You
No,
don't value your own life.
I do.
most
I do,
most
but I ain't
people
dying
don't
anytime
until they
soon.
get married. It's not very common to have a will until you get married and maybe start having kids. But
Single as
you
hell.
could do
No,
it.
I got no one to give this stuff to. Honestly, I should probably just put Ricky in my because I got.
Heck yeah.
I'm
There
giving
we
all this
go.
stuff too. My candy machine stays with me though.
That's it. George taking that to the grave, eh?
Bro, I filled, guys. I know the camera can't see this, but I filled that up maybe like a week or so ago. It's getting pretty low. It's starting to creep down.
That's nice. Where'd you
That's
get that?
stock.
They got it for me for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Ricky
I'm
and
good
shout out
There's
my
that good heart again, eh?
shout out the size boys.
I'm a good gift giver. I'm
You're
a
a
really
good
good
gift
Dude,
giver.
that thing is expensive to fill up. Like it is. Candy costs money, man. Like it's not
Where'd
cheap.
you get it?
Actually, we found it on Kijiji.
Nice.
Because we tried searching online. You basically can't find them online. It was
There's
crazy.
another ad, by the way. Kijiji's got to sponsor you guys now.
Oh
Yeah.
And NASCAR.
And NASCAR.
I actually got this hat with Dirk Alay. It's the same
did you?
one. We got
Yeah.
it in Las Vegas. We talked about it right on the show, but we went down for a fight weekend, the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight. But I got an offer because I stay at Caesar's Palace when I go down, and they send me like some emails every now and then. And it was also NASCAR weekend, so I got free tickets to NASCAR. was the funniest thing.
Heck yeah.
I was so hungover.
I've always
Just, like,
wanted to go
passed
to
out.
one NASCAR event.
Honestly, they're surprisingly fun. Like
The Pals Podcast, live from NASCAR.
I think F1 is better. Like I actually like watching F1. NASCAR, it was boring.
NASCAR, they just drive in
It was
circles.
4 hours. I'm like this, like passed out. Yeah, it's just all it is, just a circle.
And everyone's just getting drunk.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Mike
people
said
show
he-
up with like 48 cans of beer and they're just getting hammered.
Mike said he loved it. I was like, I was okay.
I did Formula One once
Montreal?
in Montreal. I didn't make it to the race. And then we do the Indy. I've done the Indy in Toronto a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And one of like a company that we work with a lot at my my regular day job, they used to sponsor one of the cars, so we'd get like pit access and shit. So it was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I took you once.
Yeah, I think we went one year. I don't remember going to the pit though. I remember the all you can eat.
How
It was all you can eat.
No, we didn't go into the pit that time because we were on the on the race day.
We were in the
Yeah, we
tent
went
on
to VIP,
thing.
yeah.
A lot of food. That was good.
I really want to do that
I always-
F1 in Montreal.
Yeah, it
And
should
they're
be
not-
fun.
they
All right,
didn't do
Pals
this year,
Podcast
obviously, 'cause
exclusive.
of-
No, you know which one I want to do? It's the first race of the year always. It's at Austin, Texas. Texas, the F1 in Texas is the first
Austin's a
U.S.
good
Grand
spot.
Prix. Yeah, that one is the one I want to do next. That's probably
Heck
top
yeah,
of my list. Or Monaco,
when
but
things,
Monaco, you need
when
money.
things open up.
Yeah,
when they open up.
yeah.
But on that note,
do we circle back one? Any more Raptors hot takes before we wrap this thing up? Who do you think?
I
wins?
think
That-
I
you
honestly
didn't
think
answer
we're
the-
getting Giannis. So I didn't tell
You
you
didn't tell
guys
us.
this. So I have an inside
Ah,
guy
here
at
we-
MLSE.
here we
I do.
go.
I swear to God, I do. I got an inside guy
Okay.
at MLSE. He told me that Giannis to the Raptors is a done deal. It's already done.
There's no.
That's what he
there's
said.
No way.
That's what he said. It's
There's
already
no
done.
way.
It's
a hot
happening.
take.
He said it's a done
I'm
deal.
not as confident. Sorry, I'm not as confident about that as I am about everyone we're signing next year and the amounts.
MLS
But-
done deal.
But it's a done deal.
Bro, hold on. You're not as confident, but then you're confident in your belief that Montrezl Harrell hates that team based on a theory. that
Oh,
you
for
write-
sure. No, he does hate the team. They don't get along.
Justin, I love
Jay
it.
Lax got some secret hacker like hacking their Instagram DMs. Like he's reading through. It's like, oh, Montreal DM Lou saying fuck PG.
Well, you see, Giannis
quiet."
unfollowed all the Bucks players.
He unfollowed
That's
everybody
'cause it's
except his
already a done
family.
deal. He's coming to the
That's
Raptors.
because of the brand. You can see all his followers are his family.
It's his family, and then I think
Yeah.
like Nike or what's his.
Nike.
He's
He's a
Nike,
Nike
right?
athlete.
Yeah,
You hear the deal with Adidas and Nike? Like when they were trying to recruit him to give his own shoe.
Oh, really?
Nike and Adidas were competing. He was like one of the biggest 3 or 4 years ago. They were like sending vans of shoes and gear and apparel to try to win him over. And I remember, I guess there was a video. Adidas sent
Yeah.
him like an 18-wheeler of just like what it was everything that they had. Anyways, there was a big back and forth. They ended up choosing Nike.
Yeah.
And actually, I have his shoes, the Zoom ones. I bought them in Florida. I've never worn them. It's still in the box.
Heck yeah.
I'm not the best, but I'm terrible. at
Before
basketball. Those things will
before
not
we
help
wrap
me.
up everything too, if people are interested in contacting me, they can send me an email at jlacchin@mwfi.ca.
So
Or
Jay,
they
I'm
go
gonna
on my
post it
website.
all.
Jay Lax never
all that
listened to
kind
the
of
full
stuff.
episode because that's usually how we end up.
Last time I
Ricky
didn't do
always
this.
asks,
Last time
yeah.
I didn't do this, and my dad and his friends were like, "Why didn't you have a call to action at the end? They don't even know how to reach you
So
now."
J-Lac, what we
Sell
always
yourself.
so here, we'll do this.
Okay.
So
This is how we normally wrap. But
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
yeah, it's okay. It's
No,
okay.
no,
This podcast
it's good.
now.
They're gonna hear it twice now, so they know where to reach you.
But J-Lac, we appreciate you coming on. This was a great, fun chat.
That was fun.
I seriously hope your predictions about the Raps come true. And I think for the people who do need help with financial planning, I think J-Lac, you're a great person to speak to.
Sorry to cut you off. On that note, shout out to our buddy. You know Rob. He gave you
Yeah.
high praise.
Yeah.
Rob Ayatso, right? I say it
Ayatso.
right.
I also.
Yeah. He shout out to Rob.
Shout out Rob
I think
Aitzo.
it was when we were up.
Captain Rob Aitzo.
Captain.
Yeah, he's the
Captain.
captain
Of our hockey team.
He's always,
we were-
he's always the captain of every hockey team he's been on.
Is he good?
He's
he's
just
good.
like that leader, you know. He's
Yeah.
just always just
Alpha.
No, he's just like the solid guy that can
Yeah.
just rally the troops.
He's a good dude.
Good morals on that guy too.
I think it was at a cottage. I think it was the cottage. I don't know where I was, somewhere. And I was with him, and I was talking about, like I mentioned, I saw you that day or whatever that week. We talked about investing. He's like, oh yeah, and J-Lac knew he works with you, so
Yeah.
he gave you some high praise. So that's a happy customer,
Thanks,
guys.
Captain
So
Rob.
But we've got 2 questions we normally ask every guest. If you've made it to the end
Never.
of any of our
Doesn't know.
podcasts, you will know these questions. Do you know
You know
what?
what's funny? Everybody we have one of our friends, nobody knows the question. Like, have you not? We've said it from the very first episode too. So that means like no
I
one
actually
exists.
did watch 2 of your podcasts, but I didn't get to the very end.
So, but you know what's crazy? 59 episodes. We had all our buddies on, and like we actually have a Adonis come on.
No, I think J-Lock's gonna be 60.
Number 60.
That's crazy. Congrats, guys. You
Thanks.
guys started this,
You know what's
when?
funny?
Last
Actually,
year?
to pump our own tires, we're gonna hit 50K downloads, total downloads soon, which is super exciting.
No way. That's
50K
awesome, man.
across all platforms.
across
man.
all platforms.
That's good.
50K.
I got to,
That's
you know, I
pretty
got to give
big.
my pal a shout out. Rick's been killing it. All I do is turn the camera on and edit the music. No, but honestly, I say this before.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
50K,
actually said
man.
it here, but like, yeah, man, Rick.
He's the one getting all the guests.
100%, bro. He
Sliding
just-
in
I-
DMs.
I
and
do
all
the-
that.
When you look like that, he just hits up anybody. Even the dudes are like, oh, this guy's good.
We've
Looks
got
like a
some
nice guy. Let's go.
Like, I don't want to give ourselves too high praise, and I don't want to jinx anything. We've got some very, very, very big guests in the works for November, December. I don't want to say it, but like huge, like international. They're Canadian, but they're internationally known.
Yeah.
Like they're big in the States, Europe. Like huge.
What's your move, man? What's your DM move?
So we'll just
Sends in a picture of his abs.
No.
when it's a girl, hey, you want to come on the Pals podcast?
Do you know what?
Hey, I'm pretty
Normally-
Ricky.
No, normally what I'll do is like I would just DM them. But now that we've had some pretty big guests, and all of our guests have had a really good time with us,
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll casually chat about someone. So I'll just ask them nicely if they could ask their friend,
Yeah.
who's huge. But then also
Asking for
yeah,
referrals,
like but in our network we know a couple people that have like personal relationships with some of these massive.
Oh, I
massive guests.
know who you're gonna have on. I won't ruin
Don't
it.
say it, but we can talk off there. But we've got some
I
really.
got an idea of who you're having.
Well,
on.
we've got like a lot of really big
We're almost
ones in the
booked
works.
till like the end, I think, of October or
October
something. Like
almost,
we have a
yeah.
lot of things booked.
But anyways,
I got one thing. I want the goal for like, because obviously the NBA is still going on. Raps probably need a break from all the time they've had off. But when the season starts to come back and they start to come back in the city, all of them are getting DM'd regularly. Honestly, I
Oh
feel
my
like
God, you get a rap
OG
star?
would
I'll come.
OG would be the best guy to get on.
we're gonna
You just
have
sit here.
that.
Oh,
Yes,
I'd love that.
No, we're gonna.
Yes.
I know for sure we're gonna get a couple basketball players in the upcoming months, especially when the season's over. Some
Rick's trying to shoot a shot with Joe.
I could probably actually get one
don't
too.
tell-
I could
don't
get
tell
one.
people.
No, don't
Sorry,
tell
okay.
people. We're manifesting it in the background.
They might have heard that. I just said the first name. You cut me off good. It's a little sneak preview.
We've got some again. A massive guests in the work, and I don't want to get too much information because it could be a very exciting late 2020, early 2021 for us.
Oh yeah.
And
We're about to
and
get
also
we're about
fun
to get
fact,
that Spotify money.
yeah, we've got some cool like PR stuff coming out soon. A couple articles that we're getting written, which is super exciting because
Yeah.
we just started this less than a year ago, and
Yeah, it's awesome.
like not to pump our own tires, but we're probably one of the bigger podcasts in the city, probably in the province.
We got
as well.
recognized for the first. I don't know if we were saying this on this podcast. We got recognized one night downtown,
Yeah.
which I thought was a joke.
That's amazing.
We were outside Laissez-Faire, I think.
Yeah, like
as
walking by
Ricky
Laissez-Faire
says,
and
as
Rumours.
Ricky says,
Laissez-Faire.
Laissez-Faire.
That's fatty.
That's not even how you say it. It's
Shout out
Laissez-Faire.
LF.
Shout
Favorite
out
bar in the
We
city
were
after
outside
COVID.
walking. It was like a Friday like evening. We're like walking down, we're on a little walk down King Street, and we're passing by, and this guy comes up to us and goes, "Are you guys the pals?"
No,
And
he
I
goes,
was-
"Hey, the pals."
Yeah, and I was like, "Hey," I was like, "This
I
is
thought
for
George
sure a
knew him.
joke." I'm like, "This is like Rick's buddy or
awesome.
something," because I didn't recognize him. And he's like, "Oh, you guys are killing it." Or like, "Thanks, man."
It's like I love this episode. Who you
We
guys
had
have
like
coming
he
up?
just kept going. We're like, "Okay, we're walking somewhere. We gotta go."
Yeah.
But at the end, I go to Rick. I was like, "You know that guy?" He's like, "No, I thought you knew that guy." I was like, "I don't know that guy." Such a random dude. Felt pretty
Hey,
good.
if you were that random dude, because you obviously listen,
Yeah,
shout out
what was
to
his
you.
name?
Yeah.
He told us, "I'm sorry."
Hit me up, and we'll give you a shout out officially.
Yeah,
They'll
know
bring
what?
you on the
If-
show.
If you were, I can't remember your name. If you were, hit us up. We'll send you a pal shirt.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, if you do see us out and you do listen and we don't know each other personally, please introduce yourself because that
was
what-
really cool.
It was really cool.
I never thought I'd get noticed somewhere. That was sick.
Yeah, it was cool. But
Really cool feeling.
anyways,
Now let's wrap. this
yeah,
thing
let's
up.
wrap
I
it up. So,
digress.
the two questions that we normally ask everyone, I'll start off. And you know what's funny? You were talking at one point. I thought of yours already, so I'm going to give you my answer after you give me yours.
Okay.
If there was a movie about your life, who would you want to star as you?
Star as me?
I've got one.
My
I think mine's
favorite,
I
great.
know.
honestly,
I got one.
that's going to sound so cliche, but he's like
Leo.
my favorite all-time actor, Leo.
Yeah,
but,
Leo.
And I love movies.
That
I
lifestyle.
love-
That lifestyle.
Maybe Tom Hardy, actually.
No, you want to know mine for you? Chris Evans.
Chris Evans?
Oh,
For
yeah.
me?
Yeah, Captain America.
Oh, okay.
The beard, tall, good-looking dude.
Oh, thanks, man. You too.
We've asked.
You
each
too,
other.
George. You three.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Last one. It's actually probably pretty good because it probably could be good advice for some young listeners. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Ooh, I love that one, actually. Honestly, treat
Killing it.
treat school with more emphasis than I did.
That's good.
Like I had a lot of fun in university. Like, don't get me wrong. And
I know you did, J-Lac.
I think the reason my social skills are so good, yours as well, is you had a lot of fun in university as well.
Fun
Correct?
fact, me and J-Lac were arch nemesis.
We did. We were arch nemesis.
Yeah, that's how I
Boy.
first knew about you guys.
We
Like,
dated like 3 of the same girls. It's really weird.
and
Legit.
now
It
look
was
where
really
we
weird.
are. That is good advice.
But yeah, no, but honestly, like, take school seriously and
Excuse me.
don't try to rush things, I think, as well. But take school seriously. Like, do well in it because you're going to open up more options for yourself down the road.
On to that point, I guess for the people listening, my parents paid for my school. I didn't pay for my schooling at all, even when I went so university and college. I didn't pay for it. I find myself now paying out of my own pocket to do extra courses online so I can learn more, so I can better myself, higher education. Like, I've debated doing my master's a couple times too, and it's one of those things where back then I was there and I passed every course I was ever in and I got decent grades, but I wish I had the mentality now that I wish I had the mentality now back then, because I would have put in that much more work, that much more effort, and maybe I could have, done a master's when I was a little bit younger, kept going, because I think being the smartest person in the room or being a very well educated person is such a powerful,
Extremely important.
yeah.
You should never be the smartest person in the room.
Okay, agreed.
You're
but
the smartest person in the room. You're in the wrong room.
but I think that's such.
I
a
actually,
powerful thing.
honestly, I know that my personality.
Oh,
is
and save money from a very young age too. If you start
maximize
early,
your TFSAs.
if you start early and you just contribute monthly, you will be shocked how much money. Like, if this is to like kids that are like going to university or whatever. You start at 18, 19. By the time you're my age, 30, you're gonna have like 10 times the amount of money that I have.
If me and Reddy
true.
saved our
It's
promo
crazy.
money better,
Yeah. Save and
Yeah.
invest, but consistently do it. Set up like a pre-authorized contribution so you're
That's
never
what I do.
looking at it.
Yeah.
Just
I
keep
have
doing it.
$25 a week.
Yeah.
I
You need more
started
than
when I was
that.
16.
I think I put like 200.
No,
every
but
other
I
week.
started when I was 16. Every single week, $25
I do
for my,
750 a
so
month.
my
Yeah.
checking goes into my
750
savings.
a month.
$750 a month.
So I do every paycheck. Mine comes out automatically. I think I set it up maybe 2012 when I first started working, or 2013, whatever it was after university. I think it started as $100 per paycheck, and then it went to like 120, 150
I have
slowly.
stuff like that in
and I
my-
think I was
my
at like
mutual fund.
250 to my RSP goes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on that note, if people want to find you or they can reach you, and if they want to get the best advice in the game, where can they find you?
So you can send me an email at JLACCHIN. That's J in my last name at M as in Mary Walter Frank Ingram.ca, or you can go to www.mwfi.ca.
Okay.
Perfect. And then
I'll
also
we'll
you're on
paste it all
Instagram
in.
as well.
Yeah. And if you want to
Instagram,
find
I
you-
think you're at Lacchin.
No, don't follow my personal one. Follow my business one, MWFI.
Wow, I'm gonna bleep that now.
MWFIing.
if you're a girl and you're single.
And that's a wrap. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. J-Lac, it's been a
Had to
pleasure.
throw that one out there.
Yeah.
I have to throw it in a little bit.
Signing off, pals.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Peace.